Hello, bienvenidos, and welcome to South Summit 2020, coming to you from La Nave here in Madrid.
South Summit TV is a global platform, bigger, better, bolder.
Technology and innovation have to be at the heart of the transformation we need to do as a country.
Most people alive today have, at least in my view, a 50% chance of never getting sick, however long they live.
You can actually see this situation, this pandemic, as an opportunity to reinvent yourself.
You are the finalists in the health and well-being category.
Category of education. So let's continue with the future of work segment.
Number 1, hire great people. Number 2, hire great people. Number 3, hire great people.
It's going to be the explosion of the startups here in Spain.
And the winner is...
The winner is...
And the winner is...
Medicsen.
Body AI.
Google.
Education isn't everything, but it's almost everything.
Well, liquid learning is a transformational and interactive educational experience.
We need to move from ideas to action.
I think a lot about the line between confidence and humility.
We're going to have a stronger society.
A resilient society.
Coronavirus is going to pass.
Absolutely.
We are not. We are going to continue.
Hello, bienvenidos, and welcome to day 2 of South Summit 2020, and the highlight of every day, our special prime time, coming to you from La Nave here in Madrid, the capital of entrepreneurship and innovation. My name is William Miller, and it's an honor to be your host for South Summit Prime Time. And what a prime time we had yesterday, amigos. We spoke to actor and icon Antonio Banderas. We met Aubrey de Grey from Sens, who is maybe going to live to 1,000 years old, and had a fireside chat with Eric Yuan, the founder and CEO of Zoom, who made over 12 billion, yes, that is billion, in the past 7 months, and now ranks amongst the 400 richest people in America. Our 3-day program is full of real-life stories to inspire you by shining a light on high-performing individuals and teams and connecting you with the innovative leaders. As many of you will know, tomorrow we will be welcoming some incredible people to South Summit, like Nick Nash from Asia Partners and Marcelo Claw, the CEO of SoftBank. And we will have a closing keynote from the astronaut Katie Coleman. South Summit 2020 is really out of this world. So what about today? Would you like to meet Manny Spanger, who sold his company for $5 billion? Yes, that is billion with a B. Stay tuned. He will be joining us soon. Or how about William Shu from Deliveroo? I thought so. And of course, we will meet our category finalists of the South Summit 100 Startup Competition, who will be battling out for a place in the grand final during prime time session tomorrow. So, do you know about Earth Overshoot Day? It is the illustrative calendar date on which humanity's resource consumption for a year exceeds our planet's capacity to regenerate those resources in the same year. So, we're going to start our sustainability track by meeting a fellow thespian who is on a mission to save our oceans. Sam Waterston is an American actor, producer, and director known for his work in theater, television, and film. You may have seen him in his Golden Globe-winning performance for I'll Fly Away, or this Screen Actors Guild Award-winning performance in Law and Order. Or maybe in the wonderful Netflix series Grace and Frankie, one of my favorites. Sam is also the chair of the board of directors at Oceana, an international organization focused exclusively on protecting and restoring the oceans on a global scale. Joining him to talk about radical change, how to save our oceans, is Maria Eugenia Giron, an independent board member, associate professor at MIT Sloan School of Management and IE Business School, an angel investor committed to environmental and social responsibility, and a member of the board of directors at Oceana. Sam and Maria, welcome. La Nave, the stage is yours. It's a pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you, William. Welcome, Sam. Welcome to the South Summit. It is, we are at this innovation summit, tech summit. We are all concerned about economy jobs. Why are we talking about fish today?
Well, the health of the planet entirely depends on the oceans. They cover 70% of the world's surface. They absorb and dissipate huge amounts of heat. They produce vast amounts of oxygen. They yield enormous amounts of healthy food. Everything you and your companies produce in the way of technology can prosper only on a healthy planet, which requires a healthy ocean. Maria and I, and the Great Oceana Project, believe that you have very good reason to be interested.
Thank you, Sam. So we met at the board of Oceana a few years ago. Now you are chair. Can you tell us a bit more what Oceana is doing? What's the mission?
Well, Oceana is about as young as this new century. In those 20 short years of absolutely breathtaking technological change and innovation, it has grown into the largest solely ocean-dedicated international advocacy organization in the world. Its purpose is to rebuild the ocean's abundance and biodiversity, nothing less. Its approach is to build science-based campaigns designed to win results in 3 to 5 years maximum, or to know the reason why, and that discipline works.
So Oceana is very innovative in the approach to ocean conservation. How do we use technology? How does Oceana use technology to do it?
Yes, Oceana uses technology. So far, we've conducted 40 expeditions on the water using divers and submarines and technology to report what's down in the sea that humans don't know about. Technology has enabled us to trace seafood from fishhook to plate. Global Fishing Watch is a technology that Oceana helped develop to locate and trace any fishing boat with a locator device anywhere it goes in the world. And you can just go to Global Fishing Watch on the net, and technology permits DNA testing of sharks. It can identify sharks by species even after they've been butchered, and it's a major tool in interrupting the illegal transshipment of shark fins through Peru.
Global Fishing Watch is an amazing tool, the result of this alliance of Google, SkyTruth, and Oceana that allows to track shipping. But now we are targeting another problem, which is plastics, because plastic is flooding the ocean.
Every minute we dump about a garbage truck's worth of plastic into the ocean, something like 17.6 billion pounds of trash, plastic trash a year. Microplastics are everywhere as a result, because when plastic breaks down, it becomes microplastics, and microplastics never go away. The world produces much, much, much more new plastic than it recycles. We have to get to the source. To have real impact, we have to reduce the amount of single-use plastic that's being produced.
And in this context, no industry is innocent. Think about e-commerce. The increase in e-commerce is driving the increase of packaging and plastics. What are we doing about it? What is Oceana doing about it?
In July 2020, Oceana launched a campaign calling on Amazon to offer plastic-free choices to its customers. Oceana will get Amazon to offer climate-neutral or climate-positive plastic-free packaging to all its customers worldwide as an option at checkout. Just to give you an idea, Amazon shipped approximately 7 billion packages in 2019. That's nearly one package for every person in the world. These packages often use plastic packaging that can end up in the oceans and devastate marine life. Only 7% of all plastic produced to date has been recycled. The other 93% has been landfilled, burned, or it has become pollution in the ocean and the environment. Amazon can help by giving its customers a plastic-free packaging choice.
So this is a call to action to all of those e-shoppers to join us and ask to Amazon for a plastic-free choice at the checkout. And we hope that through this chat, we will get more people involved in ocean conservation. But maybe to inspire them, we can let them know why you and I joined. And let me start, Sam. You know, I am an entrepreneur. I like to get things done. I like to make a change, to move the needle. And ocean conservation is solving so many problems at once: the problem of climate, the problem of jobs, the problem of food. And Oceana, it's very goals-driven, very practical. It achieves victories, and it gets things done. Why did you join, Sam?
Well, you know, everybody has a triggering event, and so mine will be different probably from a lot of the people who are listening. But mine was the collapse of the cod fisheries in my own backyard on the northeast coast of the United States. It astounded me and alarmed me because plentiful cod, to New Englanders, stood for the inexhaustible sea. Cod was a major reason Europeans got interested in North America in the first place, and one of the first big transatlantic industries. So news of their decimation and the closing of cod fisheries was a major shock. And then I was associated professionally with Ted Danson and Keith Addis, who were in at the beginning of Oceana as it now exists. They invited me in, and I'm forever in their debt. In the first place, I got to meet Dr. Daniel Pauly, another board member, who is a towering figure in the world of ocean conservation. And as if that weren't enough, Oceana gave me something constructive to do with my alarm.
Okay, I want to thank you for that story. And I want to thank the South Summit for inviting us to present Oceana, what we do, and why ocean conservation and fish make so much sense today.
Oceana is calling on online shoppers, ocean activists, and entrepreneurs and tech companies of every size and stripe to ask Amazon for plastic-free options in shipping and receiving of goods. Oceana is calling on online shoppers and ocean activists to do this at checkout by adding their names to change.org/plastic-free choice. All of us can do that as individuals, and we should, but there's no telling what the people in this meeting could accomplish if you choose, or when you choose, to add your voices too. You can help, that's for sure, and it's very satisfying work. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and Maria, thank you too. Would you like to add anything as we close?
Yes, thank you, Sam. Thank you, South Summit. And remember, you can all help.
And from South Summit, Sam, we hear that call and we take it upon ourselves. South Summit Innovation is business. Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for being here. And business is supposed to create awareness too. Thank you for creating that awareness in the oceans in our world, because there is only one world. There is no plan B. And keeping with the idea of radical solutions for radical change, let's kick off our South Summit 100 Startup Competition final in the category of sustainability and energy. As you know, South Summit TV is covering 9 topics over 3 days, like sustainability. And in each topic, we have a specialist pitch competition. The 100 finalists pitching have already been handpicked from thousands of applications, and 2 contestants from each category have been selected by the judges to battle it out during these category finals, which happen during prime time. The 9 category winners will go through to the grand finale tomorrow, where there can only be one winner. And now it's time to meet the people who have the very difficult task of selecting the winners. Welcome to our judges in La Nave: Jose Minguez from Endesa, Fernando Del Rey from Venture City, and Javier Ulecia from Bullnet. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to take you over to our panel of digital judges. I'm going to give them all one of these COVID social distancing high fives that we've been doing here. Nice to have you all here. We have with us Jose Manuel Caro from BS Startup, Banco Sabadell, Nacho Mateo from IE University, Jose Luis Silva from Dux Capital, Sean Seton Rogers from Pro Founders Capital, and Hannah Kuo from Rakuten. Welcome to you all. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, hold. So the 5 competition criteria being used by the judges in their marking are innovation, scalability, team viability, and investability. Each finalist has 3 minutes exactly to wow our judges, and the jury can ask them a maximum of 2 questions. That is 2 questions, jury. And of course, they have to answer those 2 questions in 30 seconds or less. That is 30 seconds per each question. But let's start by finding out the name of our 2 category finalists in sustainability and energy, who are, I wish we had drum rolls, Biosolvit and Submer Solutions. Biosolvit is a Brazilian biotech company applied to new materials development that has created the most efficient oil absorber in the world. And here to pitch for a second time is their founder and CEO, Guillermo Pinedo de Queiroz. Guillermo, the floor is yours.
My name is Guillermo Queiroz. I'm the founder and CEO of Biosolvit, a Brazilian biotech company applied to new materials development. I'm here today to show you an amazing solution for oil chemical spills. Almost 6 million tons of oil were spilled in the last 5 decades, only overseas according to Itopy. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the BioBlue Natural Absorber. Here we have 2 tanks, and we're putting crude oil in these 2 tanks in the same quantity. In the first tank on the left, we use polyurethane, which is able to absorb 12 kilograms of oil in 30 minutes. In the second tank on the right, we use our product, the BioBlue Natural Absorber. Our product absorbs 22 kilograms of oil in only 15 minutes, twice more absorbed in the half of time. This product is made with palm fibers discarded in many crops in Brazil. Only 3% of a palm tree is used to produce the heart of palm, a eatable product here in Brazil. And we use the rest of 97% to produce, among other products, the BioBlue Natural Absorber. The most important, this product is the only one that allows the reuse of spilled oil. So we can recover the oil from the sea or land and put again to refine. See the difference between these 2 products. As I said, our product is natural, twice more absorbed in a half of time, and the most important, 95% of oil recovery. I went to France and Total has challenged us to test our product in the Cedric Institute, and that's the result. Our technology is the #1 in the world. Some competitors from Germany, United Kingdom, United States, and some of our products. We produce absorption barriers, containment barriers, kits of industries, ports, airports, highways, mining companies, or even to small repairs. And that's the reason because our market is so large, $145 billion in 2019. Our revenues last year, $1 million, and our projections to 2023, $85 million. We have just closed our Series A here in Brazil, $3.75 million with a valuation of $25 million. We were accelerated by Plug and Play United States. We're the winner of Grand Prix de l'Innovation in Paris. We are finalists of Startup World Cup and some assets. Our new factory here in Brazil and our team. I'm from TOTUS, the first Brazilian unicorn. Wagner is the man behind the innovation. Giuseppe, an important executive from Telecom Italia. Habib, our R&D director. And Fantini, our raw material supplier and our industrial director. Believe me, we believe that we can change the world. Actually, between making money and saving the world, we choose both. Thank you very much.
And South Summit 2020 is all about believing in changing the world. Guillermo from Biosolvit is a great example, and if Sam and Maria were watching, I'm pretty sure they must have been impressed with his product to clean oil from our oceans. So, back to our judges. Is there anybody who wants to ask Guillermo a question? I'm in front of our digital panel here. Is there any judge here? Raise your hand if you wanna ask a question about Biosolvit with Guillermo, and if not, we have our physical panel of judges over there. Anyone, any raised hands? Well, obviously it has been clear. It is a clear presentation. So, We needed no questions for that. Let's see how maybe our winning startup will someday break the record for the biggest exit in the history of Spain's tech sector, $5 billion. To be fair, it might take them a while, but you're getting to meet the current holder of that record later today in prime time, so stay tuned. But first, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome back to the stage the legendary founder and CEO of Spain Startup and South Summit, Maria Benjumea, and she'll be talking about bringing innovability to the foreground with Jose Bogas, who is the CEO of Endesa Iberia, country manager of the Enel Group, president of Enel Green Power España, director of the Iberian Energy Market Operator Polo Español, and director of Enel Iberia. You might say the man has loads of energy. Maria and Jose, La Nave is yours. Thank you for being here, Maria.
Thanks a lot.
Always the stage is yours.
Well, thanks a lot. Well, Pepe, it's a pleasure being here with you. You know, I wanted this conversation since the very beginning. So we have to wait years to be in this incredible South Summit TV, to have the luck to be here with you. Because, you know, everybody, Pepe Bogas is the CEO of Endesa, and Endesa is one of our beloved partners since the very beginning. Because since the very beginning, and we are talking about 2012, you saw that open innovation and startups were really interesting for you, and this was a new word. What made you think about startups and open innovation and join us since the very beginning?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the introduction, and I was really impressed about all the scenario and also all the things that you have said about me. In any case, well, I'm very proud that since the year, as you have said, 2012, we were committed with this idea of innovation, this idea of supporting a startup and looking for new ideas, open minds, etc., etc. Looking back, these 8 years ago, I think that we chose the right way. That is real. The South Summit for me is the contact point for this ecosystem of innovators, in which we learn all together and continue. We are proud just being one of the first, and I would say the few companies that at the beginning of this bet in this kind of things.
Thank you very much, Pepe, for your words, because I know you are convinced about all this. And you know, at the beginning, when you talk about Endesa, you thought Endesa is a company with many years. But since the beginning, you saw really that here there were the opportunity to open and develop the business. How do you consider open innovation? Which is the role that really startups play in your organization? How do you manage?
So we are living inside of a world which is or has a lot of disruption forces, and we need to have the flexibility to do that. In our idea, I should say that one of the statements that we really like in Endesa and we have is open power. Open power means open to others, open to our customers, open to startup, open to innovators. We don't know all the things, and we need new ideas. So open innovation is an opportunity to really have the opportunity, let me say again, opportunity of collaborate with other people to give us this kind of new blue.
I agree so much with you because of everything that you are saying. But there have been 8 years since we start working. What could you say about how is open innovation now? Do you think it's just the same how you're playing now? How has it changed?
Well, it has changed a lot. And let's say today we have different teams with different functions, and we try to combine different ideas in this so-called agile methodology. And then innovation is one of the tasks that we should face every day. And I really want our people think in innovation, not only technical or technological innovation, but innovation that is the way in which people should be curious about different things and try to look for different solutions in our normal life. So the startup are another pillar of the way in which we work with them. As I have said, they are innovators, of course. Today, I think these startups are more focused on specific areas of businesses. We begin with them trying to launch a pilot or a proof of concept, and we will pay for this. What we are looking is that this startup will become a provider of Endesa in the future. And also, inside of the Enel Group, we have a network of 10 innovation hubs. These innovation hubs are looking for, among other things, the best startup that could collaborate with us. We need these startups, these innovators, just to help us in this disruptive and changing world in which we have to work, and to work with the idea of sustainability, in the sense that today it is very important, the economic result of the companies. But if you are not sustainable, and sustainable means a lot of things, not only environmental or environment, but social, integration, a lot of things, just to be something really integrated in the world. And the startup gives us a lot of ideas just to go ahead with the sustainability in the future.
It's great listening to you, because I agree so much. And you know, all our startups, here we are with the finalists, and everyone wants to work with Endesa. But Pepe, let's wrap up. Innovability has become your main message. Tell me about it. What that means to you.
Well, we have at the Enel Group a department that we call Innovability, which means innovation and sustainability. I think it's a great idea. First of all, as I have said, because sustainability is the only way in the future. And as I have said, that means a different way in our relationship with our customer, with the environment, with the citizen, with the countries, with the world. Our commitment on the sustainability in a wider, in a broader sense of the world. How to get to this? How to really, you need innovation. You need innovation. And innovation, we have innovation in all the things. Let me say, today, the so-called green bonds, which really you get the finance through your commitment with the sustainable development objectives. Well, let me say 3 or 4 or 2 years ago, it was incredible. It was impossible to think about this kind of thing. And this is, for me, the innovation, the real innovation. So there is technical innovation, but also there are a lot of ways in which the innovation and the sustainability should collaborate, and they should integrate together to get the target that we're looking for.
Pepe, I would be hours talking to you about all these things. I'm sure everyone that is sharing this connection about innovation, first are looking forward, working with and listening to us. But we have to listen now to the startups. Do you want? We can listen to them.
Pleasure for me.
Innovation. Endesa needs innovation. Innovation needs Endesa. That's powerful stuff from Jose and Maria. Thank you very much. I don't know if you knew what I just did there. You know, powerful stuff with all about power. No pun intended. But let's see who our next startup is. We're talking about Submer Solutions is disrupting the data center industry and internet infrastructure with highly efficient, eco-friendly, and ultra-dense data centers. Take it away, the co-founder and CIO of Submer Solutions, Paul Weiss-Soler.
Hi, I'm Paul, co-founder of Submer, and we are disrupting the data center and internet infrastructure. Data centers, as of today, consume more than India, 6% of the global electricity, and it is growing towards 1/5 of the global electricity by 2025. An average data center consumes the amount of water in an Olympic swimming pool every 2 days. It's crazy. They are basically growing so fast that it's impossible to keep up with this growth with existing building technologies. We have a few examples here from Netflix, Google, Facebook, and so on. And now also we have a few technologies converging like AI, machine learning, blockchain, which require very powerful hardware, GPUs, ASICs, FPGAs, and so on, that generates a lot of heat in the same space, impossible to refrigerate with traditional technologies. And on the other hand, we have low latency applications like internet communications with 5G, edge computing, connected cars, machine-to-machine, and so on, that require low latencies to be able to reduce these delays in your communications. And this is how we solve it. We created a full stack technology, hardware plus software plus chemical, and now also robotics, that allows us to submerge any kind of compute in our baths, and we are able to dissipate the heat in orders of magnitude more efficiency. This means that we can pack 10 times more density per rack. This means saving 85 to 90% of the real estate by using more powerful servers. We can save 50% of the operational costs. Thanks to the efficiency of the system, we can save 50% of the capital expenses because we don't need the brick and mortar, false ceilings, cold aisles, and so on. And we also save 99% of the water because we can recirculate the water and the heat for district heating a building, and so on. So empowering circular economy. The market is huge. It's growing at a 2-digit rate, only in terms of growth, 300 billion in the next 4 years. And our vision is to capture this market by becoming the de facto way of operating and making data centers more efficient, more sustainable, and more dense. We are ahead of competitors, 10 times faster. Basically, in a year, we move faster than our direct competitor in 10. We have a PCT international patent, and we own the full stack technology. Again, hardware, software, chemical, and robotics. We are moving towards automation and making autonomous managed services, and this brings us to the subscription business model also. And some happy customers, Digital Realty, one of the biggest scholars in the US, Etisalat in Middle East, Airbus, and so on. We are growing towards 9-figure sales by 2023, 10x growth last year. And our team is a rock star. We basically have the former infrastructure director from Apple and Yahoo, our CDO, ex-Ingrams, ex-Intels, and so on. And this is Submer. I hope you like it. And please, if you have any questions, shoot us an email at paul@submer.com. We are looking for customers and future investors. Thank you very much.
And right on time, Paul for Submer Solutions, eco-friendly and ultra-dense data centers. Now, before we start raising hands, may I remind our judges they have to start voting. They have to start voting for one of these startups. Okay, we have Submer and Biosolvit. Okay, so do I have any raised hands? I see from Jose over there, our physical judge who is right here in La Nave with us. What questions, Jose, do you have?
I have one question. You know that the market of data centers is very competitive,
I would like if you could give more detail in how do you heat recovery, which there are many systems that they do the heat recovery, and how do you make your servers more efficient, because the production of heat, as you of course know, is tremendous. So could you explain a little bit about your technology?
Sure. So we empower the circular economy by reusing the heat generated by the compute for other purposes, because we use a closed water circuit for basically recirculating back and forth the heat. So we can exchange it through, for instance, heating a building or industrial processes or a district heating network, for instance. On the other hand, regarding the hardware, we not only optimize the facility power usage effectiveness, but by cutting by half the operational cost of the data center, but also at the IT level, the IT usage effectiveness, because we don't need moving parts, fans, and so on. So saving 10 to 25% at the server level.
And TikTok, Jose putting on the heat on Paul. Will he be able to bring it down? Do we have another question? We have another question on our virtual panel. Jose Manuel Cattle, we're going to fly you over to our yellow screen to talk to Paul. What is our second question for Paul from Submer?
Hi, Paul. Congratulations for your presentation, for your pitch. I would like to know, as you said, you have globally customers, so I would like to know a bit more about your operational and manufacturer system or process. Thank you very much.
Excellent. So what we do is diversify operations worldwide. We have our own main factory in Barcelona, but we also have a factory and we start shipping pods successfully from the US for reducing lead times and also import and export taxes. We have customers there like Visa and some of the top 5 biggest tech companies. I cannot say the name, but we are starting to diversify and having multi-sourcing also. So we don't have any bottlenecks and we have the scalability to provide our technology anywhere in the world. So yeah, thank you.
Any other raised hands? Does anyone know more questions? Awesome. So it's time for our next fireside chat, which will bring us a view from Silicon Valley. Not the HBO comedy series, but the insider perspective from two people who know the Valley intimately. Robin Richards Donahue is a founder and managing director of the Draper International and Draper Richards Fund. The Draper International India Fund was the first Western venture fund to go into India and gave 15 times return to its investors. Blake Winchell is a venture capital and search fund investor, an entrepreneurship professor, author, playwright, a member of ASCAP, ASCAP, and the Dramatists Guild, a true polymath. Robin, Blake, how are you? Can you hear us?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Hello, South Summit. So, Robin, what is being transformed in the social impact world because of the COVID situation?
So the singular impact of the pandemic in the world of social impact is the huge change in distribution channels. This has happened across many, many sectors, and today I'm just going to tell you about 3: education, food distribution, and then healthcare. So in terms of education, I think we all recognize that online education is the new technology and is probably here to stay in a lot of different areas. And in many cases, the lower socioeconomic groups, they're in digital deserts. So a deal that we did called Digital Bridge K-12 creates buses that are Wi-Fi buses that literally drive in to neighborhoods that don't have any Wi-Fi, and they light up the neighborhood for the time that the school day exists. I'd like to also talk about the food industry, and typically the bricks and mortar tradition is that you would have food banks with a lot of volunteers, and a lot of these volunteers were elderly people. And of course, that's gone away. They're not able to volunteer. What's happened is not only have food banks merged together, which is a great thing, but think of it like Amazon. They now think of the end users. So they are creating boxes of food for individuals based on their taste, and it's all automated just like an Amazon order would be. And finally, in healthcare, I think we all appreciate that telemedicine has taken over, and that's been very successful. But what about for the nonprofits? And so for them as well, not only do you have nonprofit companies that do everything from text you when it's time to take your medicine, but you have much larger plays. And we just funded a deal called Valera Health. It's been about 3 years in the making. They are focused on mental health of the lowest socioeconomic group. So to sum it up, in my space, not only do we recognize networks and how distribution can happen, but what we really do is think about the equality of it and really focus on how are all economic groups going to be able to benefit from this sea change in distribution. And I'm here to say it's been a real upside of the downside of the pandemic. So my question for you, Blake, is how has COVID impacted the venture capital ecosystem in Silicon Valley?
So, you know, Robin, actually Silicon Valley is doing remarkably well. Nobody would have predicted it in March when the pandemic first hit. But as you know, markets tend to look forward and not back. And it appears that the markets discounted COVID as more of a short-term phenomenon, and as a result, the markets have really kind of surged, particularly the markets, both private and public, for technology companies. Interestingly, despite the lockdown, the venture capital ecosystem has been very quick to virtualize. And as a result of work from home, for many people, they're working longer, they're working harder, output has gone up, and productivity has increased as well, which was unexpected. In March, April, and May, there were a lot of inside rounds that were done for companies that really needed cash, either because of COVID or because they were at that point in their cycle where they needed cash. But the market really kind of came back very quickly, and with virtualization, the competition for venture capital is now really back to its pre-COVID levels at everything from the seed stage up through growth capital. M&A has slowed somewhat. We have 2 companies in our portfolio that are in processes now, but M&A is a little bit harder because there is some face-to-face stuff that needs to go on when you're thinking about making an acquisition, as you know. But the IPO market is incredibly robust, with Palantir, Snowflake, Asana, DoorDash, and Airbnb all talking about filing. It also appears that SPACs are the flavor of the year. There's been a lot of liquidity sitting on the sidelines, interested in investing in technology companies, and so a lot of these special purpose acquisition companies have popped up to acquire technology companies. In fact, it was just announced last week that Flying Eagle Acquisition Company, which is a blank check company, they are acquiring the competitive gaming company Skills, which, like DraftKings, basically allows for betting on games. The pandemic has created headwinds for some companies and tailwinds for others. I'll give you a couple of examples from our portfolio. Clover Food Labs in Boston is a fast, healthy food company with 13 restaurants, all of which they had to close in March, and they're still closed. And so obviously that's really difficult for them. But Air Muir is the CEO of Clover Food Labs, and he has started a cooking show on YouTube on cooking simple, wholesome recipes that are easy even for novices. An example from our portfolio is Ebb Therapeutics. Ebb is the only medical device that's received FDA approval to treat insomnia. And with all the anxiety and stuff that's been brought on by COVID, that market has grown even more. So even during the pandemic, Ebb has been able to get distribution on Amazon, and as a result, they have had record month-over-month growth in the last 3 months, even though we're in the pandemic. I guess I'll end by observing something that you actually alluded to, and that is the pandemic is going to cause major structural changes in some of the world's largest industries. And so I guess I'll just end by saying that Robin and I appreciate the invitation to join you all at South Summit, and we hope that the balance of this bizarre year will see you very healthy. Back to you, Madrid.
Thank you, Robin and Blake, bringing technology to everyone. Okay, are you ready to meet William Shu from Deliveroo? Well, hold that thought. He will be here soon, but first we're going to Deliveroo the winneroo of the sustainability and energy category, and to bestow one of our magnificent miniature Madrid trees to the lucky category winner, we are delighted to be joined by the one and only Jose Minguez from Endesa. Jose, always a pleasure. Sitting up there, standing right here, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you. Okay, so the startup who has won is a great innovability project. It has innovation and it's very sustainable. And its name is Submer.
And Submer is the winner. Paul, congratulations. This miniature bonsai from Madrid will be with you, and I'm sure great offers from our entrepreneurs and our businesses. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you very much.
And I'll see you up there. Jose is not leaving us. He's still staying with us for a few more rounds. Okay, we're moving into the category of mobility and infrastructure, an area which affects most of our lives most of the times. And keeping in the spirit of mobility, we're going to get right straight away to it. One of my favorite sites in any city is a vertical garden. Good for the air, good for the planet, and good for you. So let's explore building the urban oasis with Stefano Boeri, the founder of Boeri Studio. Stefano is an Italian architect and urban planner, creator of the vertical forest pair of residential towers in Milan with over 900 trees and almost 9,000 meters of terraces. The building was voted the 2015 best tall building worldwide. Stefano will be in conversation with Martha Thorne, the Dean of the IE School of Architecture and Design, Executive Director of the Pritzker Architecture Prize, popularity known as the Nobel Prize for Architecture, popularly known, and an international jury member for ArcVision, Woman and Architecture, a prize honoring outstanding woman architects. Stefano and Martha, the stage is yours as we connect to an amazing building, Palacio Real.
Today we'll be talking about the city and sustainability, but first let me tell you just a little bit about Stefano Boeri. He is an architect trained in Milan and Venice, but he is really a Renaissance man. He is a teacher, a writer, a curator. He's part of the scientific board of an innovation center. He directs a Future Cities lab. He's been in politics as a counselor of art in Milan. He also has led magazines such as Domus and Abitare, and I could go on and on. One of the most prominent ideas that has had an echo all around the world was the vertical forest that you built, the housing in Milan. And this was a private development. Now, this was one approach, and how did you get the idea? How did you convince the developer to do this? And what were some of your goals in the vertical forest, Stefano?
Thank you, Marta. First of all, it's such a pleasure to have this dialogue with you. Well, was basically 12, 13 years ago, I met Jeremy Hines, together with the Italian CEO of Hines, Manfredi Catella, and they were asking me to propose a high-rise residential tower in the center of Milano. And when I suggested them this idea to develop a kind of new generation of high-rise building where, let's say, living nature and architecture could meet together, at the beginning they were honestly extremely skeptical. And when we come back after 2-3 months of research, because I had to gather structural engineers, botanists, ethologists, just to try to let's say verify all the different character of this building. And when we come back with the answer, they say, well, let's start, let's do, and let's try.
The role of the plants on the building is just for reducing CO2, biodiversity, insulation. What does it do?
No, plants are, well, plants in an urban condition, an urban environment are capable to, let's say, produce several advantages. So the first is for sure related with CO2. We basically know that cities are producing the 70-75% of the CO2 which is present in our atmosphere. And we know that on the other side, the forest and woodland are absorbing the 30% of that CO2. So if we can move trees and forests inside the cities, well, we are in a certain way trying to fight the enemy in its own field, and it's one of the most efficient, economic, and let's say inclusive way to tackle climate change and slow down climate change in an urban environment.
So Stefano, tell me, there are a lot of people that talk about technology in the city. How do you feel about technology, or perhaps what are the important factors to make cities sustainable? For
sure, we have other, let's say, innovations that we have to promote. One is connected with mobility, for instance. So we know very well how mobility has absorbed some amazing new technology in the next past, and how we can imagine to develop. Just think to how also the economy of sharing is going to change, is changing the way we are conceiving our private mobility inside an environment. Then we enter in another very important dimension, which is the one that's somewhere connected with the idea of a smart city. So how we can imagine there's a city who is really capable to deal with climate change, can make this effort democratic.
And in all of this, Stefano, you're an architect. What is the role of architects in creating the sustainable city? Architects seeing themselves more as city makers as opposed to building makers or object makers?
So what I believe is that our profession it's really great and passionate. And it has two main dimensions that it has to develop together. One is about inclusion. We have, if we want to anticipate the future of environments, of let's say inhabited space, as we have to do, we have always to take in consideration a multitude of possible inspiration. We have to open the future, to have to, let's say, confront different possibilities about the future. And to do that, we have to be influenced by the art field, by the science, by different technologies, by human discipline, and so on. So, and then it's about inclusion, about to be open.
Stefano, we've all shared our screens over the past months, and all our communication has really been through digital media. I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm hoping that our interaction with physical space, our connection being physically with other people, will become even more important. How do you see the future as a result of COVID?
If we pay attention to the, let's say, the reasons of and also the origin of this virus, we start to consider and to see how is this COVID pandemic sudden event is strongly connected with other crises, with the climate crisis for sure, with the economical crisis, and we, I think, now are in condition to observe how also this, let's say, sudden accident is part of a long-term process of transformation. The use of roofs will become extremely important in the future because roofs are open, outdoor space, outer space, but probably they will become also a kind of fifth facade where we will receive goods and merchandise through the drones. So, but I believe in roofs also from another point of view. I think that roofs could play in the future the role that courtyards were playing in European city in the 90s, in the 80s, where, let's say, semi-public places where you can work, meet your friends, your family members, and also develop small agricultural activities. Roofs will be extremely important.
If you're looking to new companies or to startups who want to enter the picture of cities and sustainability, what advice would you give to them?
So I believe we have to develop our let's say, creativity, keeping these two issues one close to the other. Climate change, global warming, poverty, and the necessity to adapt our city, to update them, to host this probably wave of poverty.
Stefano, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. It's an inspiration, and not only an inspiration through your words, but I know what you believe and what you say is what you practice, whether it's in your architecture or teaching or curation. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait for our next conversation.
Yeah, yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ciao.
And amazing stuff from an amazing location. Okay, let's move on and up to meet the two South Summit 100 Mobility and Infrastructure finalists, who are Celeros and Mixmove. Congratulations, and get your pitches ready again. Celeros from here in Spain are shaping the future of mobility with a Hyperloop-inspired transport system to move at 1,000 kilometers an hour efficiently. Wowza. Here to whiz you through their pitch for the second time on South Summit, please welcome their Chief Operating Officer, Luis Navarro. Your 3 minutes start now.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Luis Navarro. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Celeros Hyperloop. Welcome to the future of long-distance transportation. Hyperloop calls for the fifth mean of transport and consists on a vehicle that levitates and travels through a tube where the air has been previously extracted. We can reach ultra-high speeds up to 1,000 kilometers per hour with a very low energy consumption. Hyperloop will be released in the next decade. Why? Because it's a lever to decarbonize our economy. Transport is one of our main pollutants, and Hyperloop can substitute polluting alternative means of transport in order to bring a zero-emissions transport system. Socio-demographic changes, such as the overpopulation of cities, will demand new mobility means, and Hyperloop is a good solution to connect cities center to center. Hyperloop will be labeled as a green investment, and this is something quite attractive for governments and also for private funds. So we'll have a good access to funds to support and to finance future projects. Also today, we have technologies available that we can reach and we can incorporate it into our development. And this is something that will accelerate definitely the path to market of our system. Now, let me tell you something about Celeros Hyperloop. Well, we have a clear idea. We want to connect the world in a matter of minutes. But any business-minded person will say that this is not feasible if it's not cost-effective. And this has been our obsession from the day one. So we have built this vehicle. This vehicle incorporates the core technologies and the propulsion system into the vehicle. And we can simplify by doing that, the infrastructure. And therefore, we can lower the cost dramatically, the cost per kilometer of infrastructure, and also operate at safer pressure levels. Was first described more than 100 years ago. However, it was in 2013 when Elon Musk released or rebranded the idea. From that time, we are 6 companies in the race to develop Hyperloop, and we can lead the path to the market by means of bringing this unique solution that has the potential to dramatically cut the cost. The day of tomorrow, we will be the vehicle OEM. we will sell vehicles, Hyperloop vehicles, and we will partner with infrastructure developers and other operators to sell turnkey solutions to government and our clients, connecting regions and not only cities. 2030, we will be market ready. Next year, we will start building our 1/3 scale prototype test track in order to develop the technologies that are needed to reach the market. Also, we are progressing with the standardization, and we are now working with the European Commission to reach or to be aligned with this future regulation of the system. We are 30 people supported by 20 engineers from Altran. That means 50 people working day and night in this development. Join us. Welcome to the future of mobility. This is Aceleros Hyperloop.
And just on time, Luis Navarro with Celeros attempting to hyperloop the world together. But will he manage to hyperloop our judges? Is anyone curious? Do we have a question for Luis Navarro about the hyperloop? Jose Luis Silva, let's bring you over to the yellow screen. Your question for Luis Navarro, please.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. So my question, actually I have two questions that are related. The first one, when are you when are you seeing revenue in your startup? And the second one is that I see that you have several VCs invested in your cap table. How are you going to match the long-term revenue with the exit strategy of the funds, which typically is 7 to 10 years, and that mismatch on the timing with your funds?
Great. Thank you very much for your question. So first thing is that, yeah, we will be market ready in 2030. However, we are planning to deploy side products that will be available much sooner, such as some mobility solutions for the electrification of cargo movement in ports that will bring us really relevant revenue streams in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's that's only one example of the product that will be ready. And we are matching with VCs that really have this capacity to wait patiently, because they are patient capital, you know, and they are ready to wait 5 to 7 years for an exit. And probably, yeah, that exit will be quite sooner if finally happens than 2030. So basically, this is something that they can, we can say, craft their P&Ls and their numbers, their Excel files, you know, to make that a reality.
Todd, thank you so much. That is an amazing answer. We have to cut you short. Now, you're talking about patience. We had a little bit with you there. Do the judges have more patience for another question? My man, Javier Ulecia, your question for Celeros.
Thank you. It's a question about the money. You say that you're looking for 3 million, but I suppose that you will need much more money afterwards. So how much do you expect to raise until you are profitable or you sell the company?
Yeah, we recently in April, in the middle of the pandemic, we closed a 7 million investment round. And that's something that we will combine with the access to public funding to cover the needs towards the construction of the 3 kilometers test track. And we envisage that probably the amount of funds that we will need until 2030 goes further than 100 million euros to cover it in several investment rounds.
Money questions from our man. Let's just remind you, Javier Ulecia from Bullnet is a founding partner of Bullnet, a venture capital firm specialized on high-tech projects, and also the chairman and co-founder of All for Paddle Adidas, worldwide licensee for the sport of paddle. And he just hit a ball to our second competitor for this award. So let's keep moving on, fast moving on to the theme. Let's go straight to our next fireside chat with none other than William Shu, the founder and CEO of Deliveroo. Will founded Deliveroo in 2013 alongside his childhood friend, Gren Orlovsky. And the duo paired technology with the nation's best-loved restaurants to bring great tasting food straight to people's front door. Today, Deliveroo works with over 80,000 best-loved restaurants, as well as over 50,000 riders, servicing more than 500 cities across the globe. Will is being interviewed by our very own tech and investment maven, Liz Fleming. Liz is an early-stage investor and ecosystem catalyst like no other, and a founding member of the Murphia. Will and Liz, the stage is yours as we connect with Palacio de Cibeles.
We are here at the restaurant Palacio de Cibeles in the center of Madrid, one of Madrid's high-end restaurants, which is a nice reflection of the gastronomic industry in Madrid. And what a better way to intro our next interview with one of the founders of one of Europe's fastest growing technology companies, a huge success story out of London, now taking over the world. We have with us this evening Will Shu, the CEO and founder of Deliveroo, who set up this company in only 2013 with one of his childhood friends. They already have over 80,000 restaurants on their platform in 500 cities and have been fundamental over the last 6 months in helping this industry survive during our current times. So, Will, delighted for you to be here with us. Thank you so much for making it.
I'm really happy to be here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for this virtual edition of South Summit. We'll get you back into Madrid another time to experience some of the culinary experiences here that you and others have been supporting.
Would love that.
So listen, Will, complicated couple of months. I think Deliveroo's had an interesting role to play in all of this. Tell me what's been going on at the company with your customers. How have you been keeping things going?
I mean, it's just, it's been pretty crazy. I guess we're a global business. So I'd say the first sort of COVID, the first areas that we learned of COVID and the impact on the three sides of our marketplace was in Hong Kong and Singapore, right? Because that sort of happened in January. And what we saw there was that the restaurants actually stayed open. I think those two places were pretty used to dealing with this type of situation. And so things kind of moved along as usual, except, demand went up, basically. Then what happened in Italy, Spain, France, and the UK was pretty different because restaurants just shut down, right? Governments put workers on furlough, which I think makes sense given you want to protect the public from obviously this terrible crisis. But what happened is what we saw happen was the restaurant supply on our platform fell dramatically, pretty much overnight. So you're talking about big chains, you're talking about independent restaurants. And we had no idea when these restaurants would reopen. And on top of that, what we saw that customers were very nervous about ordering food delivery, right? They had no idea if it would be safe. And so we felt a huge amount of responsibility in a hugely uncertain time. We felt a responsibility to our restaurant industry and to our partners to help them stay open and to generate revenue. We felt a responsibility to our riders to put measures in place that they could work safely. And then obviously, we also felt this enormous responsibility to get food to people who were most vulnerable and in many cases just couldn't leave the house. And on top of that, obviously, with all the restaurant closures and on all of that, it was just an absolutely crazy time. And so I guess the short of it is we had to reinvent this industry almost overnight, reinvent how we work with restaurants and consumers and riders and just come up with a new offer. So that was very challenging.
How you reacted so quickly, and I mean, how did you put in those measures? I guess even different communications coming from government. How were you able to figure out so quickly that you could deliver food safely? I guess
it was really crazy, right? And because every government also has different advice, right? And so when you operate in 12 different markets, you can't do the same thing. First, I guess though, if I speak in generalities, the first thing we did for our customers everywhere was to make sure delivery was safe. So we were the first delivery service to offer contact-free delivery. So messages in the rider app, messages in the consumer app, advice to restaurants that this is how we're going to operate. We also worked extremely hard to offer customers a greater range of food. So since the outbreak of COVID, our on-demand grocery offer has been really hugely important for our customers. And then, in Spain, we've recently announced we are working with El Corte Inglés and Sanchez Romero, for example. Our view is we want to offer all types of food occasions to the consumer. And so we're really proud of those partnerships. And then I would say that, the responsibility we feel is huge, right? This adoption of online food delivery has been going on for about 7-8 years. But we think COVID has taken consumer demand forward a few years. And so it's just much more of a mainstream thing. And people are relying on us. Now, when we then talk about the restaurants, the hospitality industry is suffering hugely, right? This is a well-established industry that's operated largely in the same way for decades. And overnight, you just have the tsunami of change, which is challenging. And so when restaurants reopened after being closed for a while, they found that in many cases, pickup and delivery was their only channel to reach customers for a while. And it's just become a much more important part of their business. And so for many of these restaurants, they're thinking delivery first at this point, obviously depending on which market we're in. And so at Deliveroo, we have this huge role in helping our partners adjust rapidly to this change. And we're really proud that we've been able to support the industry in a few following ways. So I'd say, I'll just list a few. One, we've changed our restaurant payment process. We actually pay restaurants on a weekly basis rather than fortnightly. And that's really helped unblock some liquidity issues that small merchants have. We've reduced sign-up fees for new restaurants in recognition that this is a major part of their sales now. Obviously, we've had a lot of new restaurants join. In Spain specifically, we had over 2,000 new restaurants join us since obviously the crisis kicked off. And then what we've also done is we have 7-8 years of experience of operating delivery with restaurants, and we've taken all of those learnings and released playbooks for people. And then finally, what we've also done is we've allowed customers to help their local community by leaving an additional tip or payment for local restaurants, to mostly small restaurants via our platform. And that's something that a lot of people have taken that up. Finally, just on the rider side, for our riders, safety is the most important thing to protect throughout this period. We campaigned in numerous countries for our riders to be declared essential workers. And this is a recognition that allows them to keep working and also servicing the most vulnerable people in our communities with food and essentials. Through our rider app, we give very, very frequent updates as to what's going on with government guidance and what's going on locally. We've also made PP&E available to all riders for free, so we've given out thousands of items there. We've also put in place a monetary fund to make sure riders who are unable to work because they've been ill, that they've been financially supported as well. So a lot of stuff done in a very short amount of time. Really proud of what the team has done.
Amazing, Will, to hear about everything that you've implemented over the last 6 months, and a fascinating success story to hear about Deliveroo. So thank you so much for being with us this year at our virtual edition of South Summit. That's a wrap from us, guys. Over to you in the studio.
And thank you, Liz. Now, before we move on, I just want to remind you to join the South Summit 2020 online community to connect with the best of the best and build your professional network for the future. I promise you will meet some great people there. Just go to southsummit.co to register today. So moving swiftly on, it's time for our second category finalists in mobility, Mixmove. They increase fill rates in B2B logistics by connecting and sharing data throughout the supply chain via their SaaS platform. And joining us from Norway to mix it up with our VIP judges, please welcome the CFO of Mixmove, Christopher Wang.
Hi there, I'm Chris and I'm from Mixmove. We're a Norwegian software as a service solution for business-to-business logistics, and we work to optimize fill rates in trucks and containers. So the problem with current logistics is that a customer order is normally packed on a pallet. That pallet is never split, so they wrap it in plastic, stick a label on it, and it's very hard to stack goods on top of each other. That means we're transporting a lot of air. And what Mixmove has done is that we enable data sharing in the cloud. So we connect the entire supply chain. We split the pallet, which is a no-no in current logistics, but we put a label on each parcel. And that way we let our algorithms track the entire supply chain operations, and we optimize how goods are loaded based on where it's going and where the capacity is. So for 3M, which was our pilot customer, we managed to reduce their transport cost by 35% and reduce their CO2 emissions by 50%. So there's massive savings with the solution, in addition to integrations and visibility throughout your supply chain. We currently also have DHL, DSV, DB Schenker on the customer list, as also with the Department of Health in relation to Brexit. We just recently signed APM Terminals, which is a subsidiary of Maersk. And we also just signed 3M in the US and starting to implement the solution there. And there's currently about 3 million parcels going through our system today per month. Our competitors are familiar sort of logos in the space for warehouse management and transport management systems, but these are very silo-based. What Mixmove does is that we think across the entire supply chain and more of a network thinking like Amazon is doing today. We have a business model that is verified by our 37 clients, and it's a pay-per-scan scheme. So every time a parcel is sort of registering through our system, the algorithms is doing some magic, and we charge for that. We target clients of roughly 30,000 in annual recurring revenue. We so far lost no clients, but we expect them to have a sort of like a 6 to 8 years lifeline. And our customer acquisitions cost is currently at about 50,000, but we expect that to come down as we do more and more online marketing. We currently have annual recurring revenue of about 1.5 million, and that's expected to end at about 2 million this year. We are currently not raising, but we expect to have a round of 3 to 5 million in about a year's time. And we already have Plug and Play Ventures as an investor, and they are expected to follow on their option. And we also think we can do some debt financing on that. Our team is about 35 people with logistics and IT background. And we were recently named a cool vendor by Gartner, which is a sort of a recognition of our technology. So if you're interested in to learn more about Mixmove, I look forward to hear from you, and I can go into more details about who we are and what we do. Thank you for your attention.
Chris from Mixmove, trying to make the move smarter and greener, but did he manage to move any of our judges, anybody on the virtual panel or any on the physical panel? We have on the virtual panel Nacho Mateo, Chief Investor of Relations at IE Business School. Nacho is a former COO of Spain startup and has worked in innovation, strategy, operations, business development, and legal and financial fields. But he is always looking for new challenges. So Nacho, come with me to the screen and feel free to challenge Mixmove right now.
Thank you, Chris, for the presentation. Could you give us more details about your growth strategy and the next steps that you are trying to move for the coming year?
Sure. That's a very good question. And what we're focusing at the moment is Europe. And we think the market is large enough here for us to capture enough here. But in our longer term strategy, and which is what we're racing for next year, is our expansion to the US, because we see we are being pulled out in there, but we need to grow sort of at the pace we can handle. So we also have sales reps in Asia Pacific, so we're also being pulled in there, but we're trying to do a growth rate that we can manage and handle.
Okay, perfect.
Amazing. Nacho, while you're here on the screen, just bear with me for a moment, because I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. As a former COO of Spain Startup, the company behind South Summit, what does it feel like to be here today, seeing how far South Summit has come and watching these great startup pitches?
Well, I always feel at home every year when we celebrate South Summit. I mean, South Summit is part of the family, and of course I feel super happy every time we celebrate. And I'm really amazed about how South Summit has evolved in the last years, and I'm really proud about all the South Summit team led by Maria and the rest of the team, which is an amazing team,
That's awesome, because every time we look up on the digital panel, you're there. You're always smiling. It's a pleasure to have you here. So IE University is one of the leading educational institutions in the world in terms of entrepreneurship. And Nacho, you're leading all the international initiatives at the IE Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center. So how are you guys promoting entrepreneurship within your students?
Yeah, thanks, William. As you said, I mean, we are very proud to be one of the leading institutions in the world in terms of entrepreneurship. And by the way, I'm very happy to see that Maine Spenger, co-founder of MassMobile and one of our IE alumnus, is participating today in the program. So actually 20% of our graduates end up becoming entrepreneurs. And I think this has a lot to do with the corporate culture of our institution. Since IE University was founded in 1973, entrepreneurship and technology has been part of the core values of our institution. And that's why at IE University, we always encourage our students to become entrepreneurs. So it doesn't matter if you are studying at the Law School, at the School of Architecture and Design, or the Business School, because at the IE Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center, we help all our students since the very beginning, helping them with building their own teams, developing their own business ideas, fostering their business plans, assigning them mentors, or giving them access to our co-working space, which is called RF51. And of course, giving them access to our own IE incubation and acceleration programs, which are called the Startup Lab and the Venture Lab. And I think this support is very important to promote entrepreneurship within our students, but it is just as important to continue helping these students once they finish this first, let's say, construction stage or academic path. So that's why we also help our students afterwards, once they graduate and they need to fight in the real world, where they need to compete against other startups in the market, or they need to find potential investors. This is a critical moment for any entrepreneur, and we know that. So that's why we also help our entrepreneurs at that stage as well. We help them through the entrepreneurship conferences that we organize in more than 20 countries in order to give them visibilities. We try to connect them with top venture capital firms around the world. And of course, we help them getting prepared for this kind of top entrepreneurship conferences, such as South Summit. So yeah, in my opinion, that's basically the key of success when you want to promote entrepreneurship within your students. I mean, they need to feel that they have at their disposal all the necessary resources to become entrepreneurs. And at IE University, entrepreneurship is in our DNA. So that's why we always encourage all our students to choose the exciting path of entrepreneurship.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for your answers. And will MixMove have the success you were just talking about? Thank you. We're gonna let Nacho rejoin the jury and give them the chance to choose between Zeleros and MixMove who will be the winner. But now for something completely different, as my friend John Cleese would say of Monty Python. Let's welcome another rock star guest to South Summit, who I believe is arriving in a very special way. And here he is. Wow, what an entrance. Dimitris Bontolos, the Chief Information Officer and Innovation Officer, CIIO at Ferrovial. Welcome to South Summit. Now, Dimitris has been a founder and partner of different startups in the space, drones, and employee experience. He was a VP of CX, the Chief Digital Officer at LATAM Airlines, and the Senior Advisor to NASA's Chief Innovation Officer in Houston, and Advisor of Digital Transformation for the travel, transportation, and logistics sector at McKinsey. So, I think we found the right person for the job of announcing our mobility and infrastructure's winner for today. Dimitri, how are you?
I'm really excited to be here with you and the entire community of the South Summit once again.
It's a pleasure to have you here. You just arrived to Ferrovial a couple of months ago. You come from the transportation and travel sector, working in corporates like Iberia and LATAM, and with deep experience in the startup world. questions are, now that you are somehow settled in the company, how did you find innovation in the infrastructure industry?
I think infrastructure in general, globally, not particularly in our current landscape, is living a critical momentum. We are identifying that the digital infrastructure, the inclusion of the 5G, the Internet of Things, are creating new possibilities in the maintenance of the asset, in the interconnectivity between the vehicles and the infrastructure that will improve the safety, will modify completely the experience of how we drive, how we navigate through our corridors. And this is a very, very exciting momentum to be in a company like Ferrovial.
Exciting and very fast changing. So innovation is a key lever of competitive advantage and mindset transformation. What's the role and approach to innovation at Ferrovial, and what are the main development lines?
We have many branches concurrently active, but basically supported by two dual tracks. One is to foster, develop, and encourage all of our employees to create new ideas, to explore new territories more now than ever under the circumstances of the COVID. And in parallel, another track is to interact and engage with the community, a global community of entrepreneurs, associations, stakeholders that could be in our sector or in the intersection of new sectors, because we believe that the new opportunities, those that could represent the future of our landscape, are still unexplored, and we are driving in an uncharted territory with excitement, but with partners in the same path.
Which is exactly what we're trying to do here at South Summit. So another question is, as you know, South Summit is a platform that strengthens the collaboration between corporations and startups. What is Ferrovial's corporate venturing, collaboration with startups, and the entrepreneurial ecosystem strategy?
Yeah, for us, it's capital to be connected with the real field. We are continuously screening a potential partner at different level with a corporate size and more niche entrepreneurial approach. We are global, so our footprint in terms of opportunities is not localized to our territory. Technology, customer experience, mobility, there are many angles where we can identify opportunities connected with our mandate and our type of business. So fully connected with what's happening right now.
Fully connected, and those that know you certainly know you're a global man. COVID-19 has impacted everything, including mobility and transport infrastructures. Could you share with us what Ferrovial has done so far and your vision of the future transport infrastructure?
Yeah, for sure. So we took very seriously since the beginning our social responsibility, the sustainability, and to support those partners or those actors in the ecosystem that could be more affected by what we are living. Was supported by a fund. We raised several millions that were addressed to all those actors to accelerate their analysis, or to support them. And also, we are doing things remarkable, like, for example, the invention of a disinfection liquid that is trying to be deployed right now in a lot of social services to protect our society. Those are several of the ideas, and in parallel, our outlook or the projection of the future, despite of the uncertainty, has to be positive. I think we have talented people, we have the ambition of change a world that is so dynamic, and despite of the moment we are living, our commitment and our goal is to move forward, and as the motto of our company, try to use the infrastructure and along the path. So that's the way we approach this territory.
The path, I'm going to invite you to center stage because I know you have an envelope there that we are dying for you to open to tell us which winner we have of our two great startups as the winner of mobility infrastructure. Please, Dimitri, do the honors. Tell us who is the victor.
I'm really excited because mobility is the veins of our company, and I'm pleased to say that the winner of this section is the startup MixMove. Congratulations.
Congratulations to MixMove, and Dimitri, thank you so much. I'm I'm going to give you one of these and one of those empty high fives that I've been doing with Osho. We're trying to make it catch on. Okay, they say that data is the new oil, but maybe there are many types of new oil, such as trust, diversity, connectivity, and business intelligence. Regardless, we are about to explore an area of immense value to any and every business, particularly as e-commerce use continues to skyrocket globally during the pandemic. Our next section is all about connectivity and data. But first, it's time to meet someone who has achieved the single biggest exit in the history of Spain's tech sector. Every startup wants to be a unicorn, a company valued at $1 billion. But our next guest went much further. This is not just a unicorn or even a duocorn or a tricorn or indeed a quadricorn. Ladies and gentlemen of South Summit, you are about to meet a rare and mythical creature. He is Spain's first ever quinticorn. Meini Spenger is the co-founder and CEO of MásMóvil, an Iberian telecom operator that grew in 14 years from 0 to 1.7 billion euros revenue and over 10 million customers. There are only 2 decacorns in Europe, so it is a point of national pride here in Spain to see the incredible MásMóvil success story. And we are honored to have Meini join us here at South Summit TV. He will be interviewed by Karina Spilska, the very brilliant president of AdDigital and general partner at K-Fund, an early-stage VC fund that invests in impactful customer-centric companies. So, connecting with Madrid.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. We are delighted to be here. And thank you very much, Meini, for receiving us here in your offices. We always say that in the Spanish ecosystem, we need exits. And in fact, I think that now we have the proof that big exits can be done in Spain. We have recently announced the exit or the sale of Idealista, which is the unicorn. But in June, you announced also the sale of the operation, the corporate operation in MásMóvil, which has a valuation of 5 billion. Therefore, you are 5 unicorns, not 1, but 5. How was it?
Well, thank you. It was a big surprise also for us. No? We are a listed company still, and we received a tender offer from 3 private equity companies, very prestigious companies. And for us, the question was, okay, let's go ahead. And we discussed it in the board. Of course, we had to agree on pricing, etc. But we think it's a good opportunity for the company, for the employees, and for Spain as a whole. So for us, it's great. For our employees, it's great. For our investors, it was a fantastic situation. We multiplied value by 5 in 3 years.
Amazing.
And therefore, everybody's happy.
Takes quite a lot of time, isn't it? Because normally we think that, wow, they are selling, this is impressive, a startup 2 years old. But in fact, the story of MásMóvil is we have to look backwards.
Well, we have been quite slow, actually. No, 2 foreigners came to Spain in 2006 to create a mobile operator, a so-called virtual operator, using the infrastructure, the network of existing traditional operators. And we thought the project would be a 3 to 4 year project. Now I'm here after almost 15 years and still in the same company. So yes, we had probably first half of the history of MásMóvil was very challenging. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of situations where we were close to insolvency. And then second half was a real growth story. In 2006, we created MásMóvil. 2008, we launched commercially our services, so people could call with MásMóvil. And in 2012, we had break even. 2013 was still a challenging year. And from 2014 onwards, we multiplied our revenues that I think at the end of 2013, it was something like 20 million euros of EBITDA. And last year in 2019, so 6 years later, we were around 1.7 billion. euros of revenues. No? So the growth was impressive, and what I'm really proud of is that we still have a bit of startup culture, no? With around 1,000 employees, but still we avoid bureaucracy, try to do quick decision making, and especially have a positive atmosphere within our company so that people feel comfortable working here.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think has been the secret sauce for this growth to happen?
Basically, customer focus. Client first is one of our values and probably the most important one. We had to differentiate with good customer care initially and always look for the benefit of the client, because when we were born, this was a very promotional market. A lot of free mobile phones, a lot of marketing campaign, a lot of small print, difficult to understand for the final client. So we tried to differentiate via good service. And basically the word of mouth, the recommendation of the endorsement of our own clients were very important. Still today, MásMóvil invests as a group around 4 times less than any other national operator in marketing.
Mm-hmm. And you are the CEO of a big company, but you are an entrepreneur. And when somebody's an entrepreneur, you always keep being an entrepreneur. How do you think you have evolved since the very first days till now?
Well, I hope that I matured a bit. We still laugh a lot here, but the thing is also the management style evolved a lot over time. No, I came from a consulting company before, and I was very impatient. And this is good or bad, and I think I'm now much more calm. I accept things that are not perfect, but I'm still pushy. No, I still want to get things done. And I think that's important. No, that we all learn to not only have great ideas but execute them. The situation of a traditional MVNO in the world was, to get 3, 4, 5% market share and then sell the company. We thought, okay, we want to think big and create a lasting enterprise.
Do you think that Spanish startups think big enough, or we should be more ambitious?
Well, I think in general we have fantastic startups in Spain, and you mentioned Idealista. There was also a startup probably, 20 years ago, no? Yes. With other very successful companies, Cabify, Glovo, etc. So a lot. And we have great talent here in Spain. The thing is, in the society, the entrepreneur during long time was an outsider. When I came to Spain and I told people, our still lawyer and secretary of the board, when I asked him to create a company, he asked me, okay, which company? And I said, no, a mobile operator. He said, oh, a phone shop? No, a mobile operator. When I told him that, he almost kicked me out of his law office, no? And also the understanding for somebody creating a company to compete with giants was not there. I think, fortunately, this evolved. So today, each day more people like to be an entrepreneur, create their own projects.
Let's talk a bit about the future. How do you see the future of your industry?
Well, I think the sector historically had to focus very little on customer satisfaction because everybody wanted a mobile phone, as you said. No, we think that this is the great challenge for traditional operators. No? MásMóvil, in its vision, wants to be number one in customer satisfaction in Europe as a telco, plus the number one in impact, in social impact, and positive impact. We think we have to think not only of our clients, yes, very important, but also obviously of our shareholders and creating profit, but also of the planet. Mm-hmm. Digitization is a key lever that we have to use, meaning obviously connectivity, but also based on connectivity, creating service that people actually use. Because everybody's talking about 5G and few talk about specific services that really are beneficial for our clients.
Mm-hmm. And if you have to give one recommendation to Spanish entrepreneurs, what would that be?
Well, first, it's a basic thing. We did a lot of mistakes in our history with cash planning because we were always too optimistic. So have a good CFO that really does well the projects and all this stuff is very helpful. We had a very good CFO, but I was too positive always. Then company culture. We were talking a lot about it during the last years also, and little by little I'm getting more conscious. Initially, we tried to hire the people with the most expertise in their field. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we did not look if this person would fit in the company that we wanted to create. Mm. And that was always a mistake. That didn't work. So now we are looking less on experience and more on attitude and values that people have. No? So I would invite you that from the beginning to define very well the culture, the values that you want to have in your company, and then be coherent. Hmm. And the third for us is maybe the importance of IT. Mm-hmm. When I started MásMóvil, I have a law background. I was a carpenter when I was young. I had no clue about technology. So the first IT director I hired was the guy that, a great guy, and he was long years with us, but he was the one that repaired my laptop because it crashed. And for me, it was more a function that had to make sure that there's no problem. But I didn't see as the big enabler, not only for doing project as a company, but also the cultural enabler.
Now, well, obviously we are in the middle of this pandemic. What do you think will be different when we overcome this situation? What are the key learnings that as a society we have to take away?
People become more conscious about, let's say, how important the environment is, how important the family is. In this pandemic, I think separated families into two, the one that get along better than before and the they get worse. And I wish everybody that they use the time wisely to improve their relationships. I think technology in general and connectivity for our sector has increased in importance. Now everybody knows that he needs connectivity at home. Mm. And for us, this is a big opportunity as a sector, but also a responsibility, because we have to bring connectivity, internet, also to the small villages in Spain. And this is a big initiative of MásMóvil that we expect, especially where there's no alternative right now. We try to bring, with a lot of difficulties, because of topographic, geographical situation, etc. We try to bring connectivity to those places as well.
Well, Maini, thank you so much for receiving us. Particularly as a client, I can tell you that I'm very happy and very satisfied, which I think is the biggest compliment. I am.
I did not bribe her, so.
No, I am. Therefore, I think this is the biggest compliment. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well.
And for you guys, this was all from here. Let's go back to the studios. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karina. What an inspiring story and what a lot of cash. Okay, where were we? Yeah, connectivity and data. So let's get connected with the two category finalists. It's time to congratulate Getaka and Aircision. Well done. So let's see who will be taking home a miniature Madrid memento as the category winner. You might remember the film Getaka, the dark and dystopian biopunk sci-fi hit all about destinies being dictated by genetics. But forget about all of that right now. You're about to meet Getaka, a cybersecurity company that provides decentralized digital identity technology, the next generation authentication layer of the internet with government-grade security and a simple single sign-on. From Spain, please welcome to wow the judges one more time, the CEO of Getaka, Irene Hernandez.
Hello, my name is Irene, and I'm the founder and CEO at Getaka, an MIT-born cybersecurity company that builds decentralized digital identity technology. Imagine you wake up in the morning, you grab your phone, open your email app, and You cannot log in. You type your password 3 times. The last one, you swear to yourself you typed it right. And still not working. A thought crosses your mind. And really scared, you open the app of your bank and bam, that's it. You have 10 charges from Amazon orders you never executed. I'm sorry, you've been hacked. And don't think that this will never happen to you. According to Brace Level Index, this may happen to someone every 40 seconds. Centralized authentication architectures are not only creating frictions for end users in terms of privacy, user experience, and security. Businesses are concentrating so much sensitive information that they're becoming honeypots for hackers, and they're spending millions of dollars in KYC and GDPR compliance. This is why we've built state-of-the-art technology to create a new way of managing your personal information, a single digital identity for all your services worldwide. We empower end users with an ID wallet in their phone and with verified identity credentials so that they can enjoy passwordless, instant, and government-grade secured access to digital services. Our decentralized platform also includes credentialing tools for issuing authorities and single sign-on authentication tools for businesses on a monthly subscription plan. This architecture is well known as self-sovereign identity, and it is so powerful that governments worldwide are already implementing this concept. The market is expected to grow to $2 billion in under 4 years in an industry that has no clear leader yet. And we are the first one to offer interoperability among any blockchain infrastructure and that are truly aligned with the European guidelines. This is why our team of blockchain developers, cybersecurity engineers, entrepreneurs, and senior business managers are, listen carefully, directly advising the European Commission to build a pan-European self-sovereign identity framework. We also signed a very strategic agreement with the Spanish National Postal Service, and we have 2 more deployments about to start. We're looking for governments, universities, and banks willing to be an innovation reference in Europe. If you're a true leader in any such organizations, please reach out. Thank you.
Decentralized digital technology from Irene Hernandez with Gattaca. Has she managed to wow any of our judges? I want to see some raised hands. As they say, raise your hands for La Nave if you have any interesting questions. I see one over here on our panel of virtual judges. And Physic, we have another one, Fernando Del Rey. Please, your question to Irene from Gattaca.
Hi, Irene. Thanks for your pitch and a very interesting solution. My question is, you've divided in your application, there are 2 phases. The first one is piloting with governments and organizations, piloting, and then the phase 2 is going subscription model. So how long do you think it's going to take you to get to phase 2, and how much capital do you think you need to get there?
Thank you for your question. Can you hear me right?
Yes.
Awesome. We're currently involved in the definition of current technical specifications for the European Commission, and my expectation from our knowledge and our work there is that we can foresee something in production, and I mean a national scale production ready project in under 2 years. That's my expectations. As per how much money we will need to get there, we are planning as of today a total amount of 5 million in investment to get there. Not for the first round, in a number of rounds. Obviously.
TikTok time's up. Irene, Fernando, thank you for your amazing question. Amazing answer. Great expectations from Irene. But are there any more questions for her? Can she wow another of our judges? We have a question from Jose Manuel Carol for Irene. We're going to drag him over to the yellow board. And we have question number 2 for Irene Hernandez.
Hi, Irene. Congratulations for your presentation. I would like to know a bit more about your competitive landscape and how are your value proposition competing and which are your competitive advantages. If you can explain us a bit about this. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. The market, the industry itself is quite young. My competitors are technology companies, technology startups. The other ones are about 5 years old. And now new entrants like Microsoft, MasterCard are looking into the space. but direct competitors itself are in its majority technology companies, very young companies. As per our differentiation, we were the first one realizing that detaching the blockchain infrastructure from the solution was critical to enable global interoperability. So that's our major bet, and it's paying off.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irene Gataca. Let's hope your major bet pays off today at South Summit. Okay, great questions, amazing answers. Now let's have a chat with our friend Irene Gomez Luque from Wayra, connecting with Gran Vía.
I'm here at the lobby of one of the most emblematic buildings in Madrid, Telefónica's original headquarters in Gran Vía, right in the heart of the city on one of its most vibrant streets. This building has been a communication hub and a lab for technology since it was built almost 100 years ago, and I can think of anywhere better to talk about innovation. My name is Irene Gomez, Director of Connected Open Innovation at Telefónica, and I've been with Telefónica for 14 years now, most of which I spent building digital products, testing technology, validating ideas, taking risks. Not so different from being an entrepreneur in many ways. Something you should know about me, even I'm an engineer, inside beats the heart of an artist. Perhaps this is the reason why this building and its history fascinate me so much. Join me as we take a look around the most dynamic and exciting workplaces in Madrid. Wayra.
Hi, I'm Ivan Contreras, co-founder at Humanox. We are new to the family. What I would like to know is, what do you think makes Wayra special?
I think there are two things. First is commitment. You know, Ivan, that at Telefónica we have been supporting open innovation and projects like yours for over 10 years now. Right now we have over 500 startups in our portfolio. We have made a huge commitment. Of course, over the years, there are things we got wrong. It hasn't all been perfect. But we should remember that Telefónica took a leap into open innovation before other corporates. This means that we are pioneers. And this means that we have had to work this out. We have had to evolve and to experiment. And this is the second thing, our experience. We've learned an enormous amount. We've learned which startups can work best in our ecosystem and how to support them so we can truly help them. Today, we are reaping the seeds of what we have sown over the year. In Spain, for instance, we are going to get far more in revenues than what we have spent in the 9 startups we invested this 2020. More important still, the total amount generated by our startups for Telefónica is more than 35 million. I think it's a clear reflection of the value we bring through Wayra. This building has been always at the forefront of communications technology. It's amazing to think that the first ever telephone call transatlantic made from Spain was made from here, connecting King Alfonso XIII with US President. And today we are going further, equipping this hub with 5G technology.
Let's hear the story of one of our entrepreneurs.
Hi, Irene.
Hi, Javier.
Glad to see you. It has been a long time since we started here at Wayra. And during these 5 years, on top of offering us this amazing working environment and the chance to work with excellent professionals, as you know, Wayra helped us to close our first financial round. Also to get our first customers, in particular Movistar Plus, that became one of our first and largest customers. Since then, we are protecting all the digital assets of Movistar Plus, TV series like El Embarcadero, La Peste, El Día de Mañana, and many others. And also, we are protecting the most important sport events, such as UEFA Champions League. And do you know that Wayra is offering as well help opening channels in Latin America? We already have customers in Mexico, Peru, and Colombia. I'm looking forward to have many others.
You are right, Javier. Wayra can offer so much to our startups, and I believe that what makes us unique is that we take our startups and integrate them into the Telefonica family, giving them access to a massive partner that can really boost their businesses. Today we have 140 startups working every day with Telefonica. And sometimes this leads into even deeper integration. Recently, Telefonica bought 2 of our startups, Govertis and iHub Labs, completely to shore up our cybersecurity front. Thank you, Javier.
Thank you, Irene. Looking forward to see you again.
Bye.
This is our Agora, a scene of hundreds of pitches. This is where we come together and learn from each other.
Irene,
How are you, Nico?
wouldn't you like to create your own startup one day? I'd love to see you here in the Agora doing a pitch yourself.
I don't rule it out. Perhaps I should follow in the footsteps of Dieter. And Dieter, you know what's Dieter? Dieter is an example of how at Telefonica we are creating our own startups from within the organization. This year we launched Wayra Builder, where we are developing startups, pure digital startups from scratch by using ideas, patents, or technology that we have in-house. See you soon, Nico.
What about the future? Where is all this going?
Raquel, this building has a long history. Ernest Hemingway was one of many foreign correspondents that used it during the Spanish Civil War to send reports from. And now that Telefonica has moved its headquarters to the north of the city, this building has evolved and adapted to new circumstances. So that epitomizes our view of open innovation. We are in constant change, constant evolution. For example, we are transforming our hubs, like this one, into labs. And we are looking for new ways to integrate startups in Telefonica. For example, Fitco is one of our startups that is currently incorporated in our TV platform. So where are we going? What is clear is that in the future we won't be the same. We can't stand still, we need to keep moving. And for sure, we will be committed to open innovation.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Raquel. So I invite all of you to check us out at wayra.com at South Summit and see how you can join us on this path. Thanks.
Fascinating stuff from Irene. Okay, it is time for the last pitch of the day. Let us meet Aircision. Their plan is to use optical wireless communication systems for connecting cell towers in 5G networks. And Luis Oliveira, their CEO, is here to remind us how Aircision is powering the high-speed connected world.
Hi, Luis Oliveira from Aircision. According to UNESCO, in 2019, 45% of households worldwide still had little or no access to internet. And this year, with the corona pandemic, at least 1 billion students had their school disrupted, losing access to education. To tackle this digital divide and increase coverage, governments and telcos are planning to invest billions of dollars to deploy at least 3 times as many sites as there are today. To connect all these new cell sites to the core network, fiber will remain the gold standard. But it can take a long time to install. It's often not technically or economically viable, especially in rural or remote areas. That means that more wireless solutions are needed. Aircision provides a new optical wireless solution to connect cell towers, the backhaul of telecom networks, and we deliver fast deployment, super low latency, low energy consumption, and a very high throughput potential. Being a spin-off company from CERN, Aircision has reinvented the way lasers are used for data communication. Our system covers 2.5 kilometers and reaches data transmissions of 10 gigabits per second. We offer unprecedented reliability under the most adverse weather conditions. We've talked with large telcos and rural connectivity providers. They have all confirmed the need for more wireless solutions. In 2020, we finalized the first version of our product and tested it at KPN's facilities. And we'll start addressing use cases in rural, remote areas where fiber cannot be deployed. Other use cases relate to railways, electrical networks, and events. And finally, we aim to help telcos in expanding their 4G and 5G networks. The wireless backhaul market is expected to reach 55 billion euros by 2025. A portion of it will be wireless and will be covered by the optical wireless system. We want to be a key player in this market, capturing at least a 10% market share. Our competitors provide solutions to niche segments, such as building to building for enterprises, But by being the only one wireless solution that works even the most adverse weather conditions, Aircision has a competitive advantage for entering the mainstream telecom markets. After winning the virtual South Summit e-challenge for connectivity and data last May, we generated many interesting new leads. And I'm very proud to announce that in 2021, we'll conduct a pilot in Spain with one of the largest operators. Our team is currently composed by 8 people, combining decades of experience in finance, sales, and product development, and we are surrounded by serial entrepreneurs and industry experts. By expanding connectivity in line with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, we believe we can break down the digital divide. We are currently closing our seed round of €2 million, so if you want to know more about our technology, feel free to reach out. We are Aircision, and we are powering the high-speed connected world. Thank you.
Precision laser wireless communication from Aircision. But did he manage to hit the bullseye with any of our judges? Are there any raised hands for Luis from Aircision? Do we have anybody on our virtual wall or even on our physical wall? Or was he so precise with Aircision that we have no questions at all because it has all been said? It looks that way, so let us talk of culture and the finer things of life and learn about the golden age of Spanish creativity. I am honored to introduce this next fireside chat between Agatha Ruiz de la Prada and a great supporter of the arts in Spain, our very own Maria Benjumea. Agatha Ruiz de la Prada is a Spanish fashion designer. The stage is yours as we connect with Palacio de Liria.
Hi, Will, thank you very much. Here we are in an incredible place. And you know, with Agatha Ruiz de la Prada, she's our best designer. You can see her, she's absolutely exciting and gorgeous. And our third companion, the best, she's Cayetana. You know Cayetana is, this portrait is from Goya. Este cuadro es de los más importantes de Goya. Goya, como todos sabemos, es un genio español increíble y Cayetana es una mujer como las que nos gusta, una mujer independiente, una mujer además inmensamente española, porque a nosotros, a ti y a mí, Agatha nos encanta y llevar España muy dentro y hacia todo el mundo, y ella lo hizo siempre. ¿Cómo ves que estamos, si hablamos de creatividad, si hablamos de diseño, cómo crees que estamos a nivel internacional?
Yo creo que el coronavirus ha sido terrible como shock, pero buenísimo para la creatividad, porque yo creo que esto va a hacer que el mundo de hoy en adelante sea completamente diferente. ¿Y cómo se hace un mundo diferente? Pensando y con creatividad. Entonces, yo me acuerdo los meses que pasé confinada en el campo, que de vez en cuando te llamaba María para ver cómo estabas, llamaba a todos mis amigos, y esos meses fueron unos meses de enorme creatividad. Una cosa que yo hice bastante, que hacía mucho que no hacía, es volver a dibujar. Y he vuelto, ayer estaba en París y estoy empezando a viajar un poquito, pero claro, nunca había estado tanto tiempo en el mismo sitio. Y entonces estoy más en el taller, estoy en contacto con las telas, mi vida ha cambiado completamente, pero yo te diría que mi vida es más creativa ahora. Pase lo que pase, nunca se puede abandonar ni la cultura ni la creatividad.
Estoy totalmente de acuerdo.
Y después del coronavirus, pues todo el mundo creo va a dar las gracias, primero de estar vivo, segundo de poder, cualquier oportunidad, como es estar aquí dentro, pues se te multiplica por 1000, dices, qué goza, y antes ibas corriendo deprisa, pum, 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 Liria, no sé dónde, pum, pum, ya llego, tal. Y ahora pues no, yo creo que hay que darnos cuenta de que eso es irrenunciable, de que la belleza es irrenunciable, que la historia es irrenunciable, que la cultura, y que es un momento genial para todas las startups, porque es el momento, tú cuando me lo dijiste la primera vez que ibas a hacer esto de las startups, yo pensé, María está loca, pero bueno, yo es fantástica, es amiga mía, y voy, me tiro por la ventana por ella, pero no pensé que iba a ser tan importante, y ahora mismo las startups son imprescindibles, porque todo va a ser distinto. Distintos pero más cultos, más refinados, más creativos, tener menos cosas pero mejores y mucho más ecológicos.
Totalmente, totalmente. Y con una mente creativa y a su vez innovadora y a su vez startupera, porque al final lo que necesitamos es, pues eso,
unir
poder
el pasado con el
transformar
futuro.
y unir el pasado, como tú bien dices, con el futuro. So we go back. Thank you very much, Agata. It's been great being with you. Thank you, Cayetana, for allowing us to be here in your house, and Will, everything's yours.
Thank you from Palacio de Lira, Maria and Agatha Ruiz de la Prada. And on to that high note, let's announce the winner of our connectivity and data category. And to help us do it in style, please welcome to La Nave, Agustin Moro, Head of Partnership of Wayra. Agustin, it's a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Hello, William. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you for coming. You have that envelope. Is it going to be Gattaca? Is it going to be Aircision? Who knows?
We will know in a couple of seconds. Yeah, first of all, I would like to say hi to the audience. I'm honored to be here giving this award to the data and connectivity startups, and I'm honored because I think the quality of startups is amazing and it's improving year by year, so I'm glad for that. And at the same time, I'm proud because I'm representing Telefónica and Wayra sponsoring this data and connectivity track. And in the end, it's telecoms, the one that made life continuity possible in this complicated environment with the COVID crisis. And I expect to be able to find great startups to find also next connectivity generation with you. So with no more delay.
No more delay. Telefónica Wayra, all about startup, all about helping entrepreneurs and new fresh blood. So with no delay, please let us know who won.
So the winner is Gattaca.
Gattaca is the winner. Irene, congratulations. Thank you very much, Agustin. Thank you for being with us here in La Nave. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to tell you about the legendary speakers we have lined up for you tomorrow. But first, let's welcome our final guests for today, both from Argentina, who are going to have an inspiring chat about the parallels of art and entrepreneurship, and they certainly know about both areas. Alex Oxenford is a board member of the Arte BA Foundation, a 5-day fair for art galleries and much more, which attracts over 120,000 visitors to the city of Buenos Aires every year. Alec is also the co-founder and CEO of Letgo. Nicholas Sakasi is the co-founder and managing partner at Kasek Ventures, a VC fund investing in technology companies in Latin America. To talk about building something beautiful, please welcome Alec and Nicholas. Alec and Nicholas, how are things in Argentina and Uruguay?
I'm in Rio because I got COVID and I'm stuck here in Rio for some time. Beautiful Rio, by the way. So stuck is maybe not the right word. It's I have the privilege of spending some extra time in Rio while I recover. I just wanted to say that it's a real honor and lots of fun to participate remotely in this first South Summit, virtual South Summit. I've always enjoyed and really I've always been extremely impressed by what you guys have accomplished, and I'm really happy that you've managed to reinvent yourself so fast and offer us this fantastic channel once again.
It was interesting, Alec, to see through your window. Evidently, that is not Buenos Aires. I don't think that mountains have grown in Buenos Aires in the last few days. That definitely is not Buenos Aires. So thanks, South Summit. Real pleasure to be here. Real pleasure to be here with Alec. We have known each other for a long, long time. We were competitors in the past. We have partnered in a number of startups over the years, and we have crossed our paths many times in events around art. So this is really fun to be connecting with you, Alec, to talk about technology and art and whatever comes out of this conversation. It all starts with loving the piece, with loving the artist, but at the end of the day, it has to also check the box that it has the potential. You never know what's going to happen, but it has the potential of becoming an asset that will have a market value. There are so many parallels. In VC, I can speak for ourselves, for Kasek Venture, we have been around for 10 years. We have invested in 75 companies, and we saw more than 15,000. So we invest in one every 200 companies that we see. So there's a lot of curation there. And of course, there's methodologies, there are algorithms, there are systems. But at the end of the day, there's a little bit or more than that. There's intuition and there's an eye that you develop by repetition and by seeing so many companies, and you have an eye for what might succeed. Of course, then you invest in 75, and probably 10% of those will do extremely well, and most others will not. And when I talk to gallerists, I really think they do exactly the same type of work. They talk to hundreds of young artists, and they have to pick a few that they can help and that they can manage. A gallery has space for a few artists. They cannot manage an infinite amount. So they do all of this curation, and then the same for a gallery and an artist and for a VC and entrepreneur. The fact that you have invested in the company or that you have selected an artist provides a very significant signal to the market that they have gone through a very rigorous process, rigorous filter, and they, by that fact, they are differentiated from other colleagues or from other startups. So very similar processes.
Damien Hirst, whom, one of the preeminent global artists of today, he said a quote that left me thinking, and he said, this is Damien Hirst, "I don't mind saying I find it difficult to square up the money and the fame with the art and integrity." And I've seen this over and over and over. There's lots of artists more or less believe that the money is wrong and it's a problem, and that the market, is negative and shouldn't be there. On the other hand, of course, they want to sell their own work as expensive as possible. But there's like a tension there, no? What I've seen is that, I don't know if it's good or bad, but just the fact, these two worlds very often are, they depend on each other. It's very hard to find a wealthy individual who doesn't have some art and who doesn't collect some art at some level. And if we think of, the most successful and wealthy individuals in history, most of them have been strong art collectors, sometimes strong philanthropists as well. On the other hand, history is full of these situations where great artists haven't been able to monetize during the lifetime their work, and others like Damien Hirst, who has, actually, he's a billionaire. He's really been able to monetize his work. But at the same time, even though he himself is monetizing his art, still believes that, there's a tension between art and integrity and money and fame,
Yeah, so I think you explained it well from the perspective of the artists, and I love this idea of drawing parallelisms with the world of entrepreneurs. And what I can say is that one of the factors that differentiates great entrepreneurs from those that are average or below average is that the great entrepreneurs don't care about the financial reward. They have a vision of what they want to do. They are relentless in the pursuit of achieving that vision. And the only thing that they care about is building the product or building the service and resolving a pain point. And they are totally obsessed with that. Of course, if you are successful, then you get the prize at the end of that road. But that is never the motivator. And I was talking before about our filtering process for entrepreneurs that we're going to fund. And whenever we smell any type of mercenary type of culture where they are really focused on what is going to be the exit, how much money I'm going to make, it's an immediate block for us. Immediately, we understand that is not the type of entrepreneur that we want to back. First, because we will not feel comfortable with their approach to building the company, but also because we think they will not be successful. The ones that succeed are the ones that have the mission and the vision in front of them, and the rest is a consequence of being successful.
One quote that as you see, I love quotes, no? But one that I read this last week, which I loved, was very short. It's founders are artists. And I myself, I'm a founder. I founded the Remate, in which, you know the story very well, because we competed against Mercado Libre for many years. Then I built OLX, and more recently, Let Go, and also co-founded Dinero Mail with Ale Estrada and Juan Pablo Bruso. And so I'm certainly a founder. And I was thinking, am I an artist or not? I wouldn't say I'm an artist for sure, but I share some traits, I think, of artists, and I think that founders do in general. The first one is, this creative aspect, the idea of bringing something to life that didn't exist before, just creating something where there's nothing, and especially something valuable and something important and something that stays for the long run. No? The second aspect where I think founders and artists are similar is, I think very often founders and artists are both awkward. They're awkward people. They're not standard. they sometimes lack a social interface, which is standard. Sense of humor is peculiar. Dress code is informal. Even though it's very different worlds and very different stories, I believe that the intersections are solid enough to, for sure, at least question to the degree to which founders are artists. And we, for sure, I think, are, as entrepreneurs, artists and owners of the creation of our own persons and our own companies.
Yeah.
You are also a founder. Yeah. So what do you think of this statement?
No, I think it's a great statement, and where they both are exactly at the same spot is on being confronted with a blank page. If you are an artist, you have a blank page and you need to produce something. And if you are a founder, you have a blank page and you need to produce a vision and a business plan, and then you need to execute on that. But the first day, it's very scary. It's a blank page. So clearly, it is very similar in that regard. The other part where I think there's a lot of similarities is short-term versus long-term. There are some artists that have a phase and they produce some work and they sell or they are successful, but they don't have the discipline to pursue a career over the long term. And then they fade away and they don't become so relevant. And of course, a company, a startup, you really need to be focused on the long term and on building something for the next decade or decades. So the success, both for an artist and for an entrepreneur, is if you have this very, very well-developed patience to build something for the long term.
One other quote I loved is from Lucian Freud, and he says, he said, I'm only trying to do what I cannot do. And again, I saw that connection as an entrepreneur, that sometimes we spend our lives trying to do things which are extremely hard, like 95, or there's all kinds of statistics, but 95, 97% of companies, startups fail. They never get to the second round, and so rationally, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be an entrepreneur. All the KPIs are against you. Just like an artist, there's hundreds of artists. Very few actually make it, to the limelight, and very few are remembered and actually enjoy a nice life financially. It's extremely hard to be a successful artist too. And so Lucian Freud was one of those few who actually made it and said, I'm only trying to do what I cannot do. He kind of already assumes that his vision is an impossible thing to achieve. What do you think of that?
Yeah, this is interesting because you are throwing these questions, and I am tending to find a parallelism with the entrepreneurial world, which is very clear on many of these dimensions. And that is very, very clearly what happens in the case of entrepreneurs, that odds are completely against you. But I think that for an artist and for an entrepreneur, it is not an option. It's not that you're calculating, I would rather do this or do that, and I'm trading off pros and cons. This is what I am. This is what I want to do. And I'll go up ahead and I'll do my best. And we talk to so many entrepreneurs, and you can see, as I was saying before, the ones that have fire in their belly, and those are the ones that you want to support. And some will succeed and some will not, but then they will try again, or they will, many times they figure it out. And if they don't have that, then they would rather do something different. But it's not a rational process. It comes from the stomach. It comes from a force within you that is telling you, this is who I am, this is what I have to do.
I think this is one of the reasons I really enjoy South Summit, because they've managed to connect in these very creative ways. I mean, us, for example, founders, entrepreneurs, VCs, discussing art and creativity and innovation from Brazil, from Uruguay, back in Spain. It's a unique opportunity. Yeah. Thank you very much again, guys.
Very inspiring, and what a way to wrap up. We wish them the best. Safety above all. It's a great way to wrap up today for day 2 of South Summit Prime Time. Thank you, Alec and Nicholas. And what an amazing afternoon we've just had. Thank you to all the brilliant finalists, amazing judges, and rock star speakers. And thanks to you at home or in your social distance office for joining us once again. We will be back with another day of awesomeness tomorrow when we look at fintech and insurtech, consumer trends in travel and tourism. And we're going to meet more legends of tech and entrepreneurship like Nick Nash from Asia Partners, Marcelo Claure, the CEO of SoftBank, and we will have our closing keynote from the astronaut Katie Coleman. And that's not all. Tomorrow, after Katie's speech, we will be unveiling the winner of the South Summit 100 Startup Competition. So you really need to join us to find out which one of those startups is going to go home famous. Did you like the speakers, the pitches, the new TV format of South Summit? Awesome, let us know. Share the love on social media using the hashtag South Summit 2020. And after that, set your alarm for another action-packed South Summit Prime Time starting again tomorrow afternoon. Hasta mañana. Thank you very much to our judges here, our digital judges, and to all the team. It's an hasta mañana, adios, buenas noches, buenos dias, buenas tardes, everything.